Hi, friends. I'm going to wait for some people to pop in and give everybody a minute to join us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's give it another second or two. We see a few people popping in. Hi, friends. Thank you so much for joining me for what may be a life-defining conversation over the next 20 to 25 minutes. We're about to be joined by Dr. Shefali, who is an incredible woman. She's written three New York Times best-selling books, The Conscious Parent, which I know a lot of you have read, and The Awakened Family. And she's about to release a new one called A Radical Awakening. It comes out next week. So we're going to talk about her book and all the amazing things that are in it. I'm telling you, I had the opportunity to read this book over the last week, and I don't even know where to start. It is literally the most important book I have ever read, and I don't say that lightly because you know I'm an avid reader. And Dr. Shefali, thank you so much for joining me to talk about it. I can't wait.
Hi guys, so happy to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
So I already introduced you. I didn't want to take any of our time together away. So I want to start by asking, what do you mean by a radical awakening?
A radical awakening can occur in anyone's life when they wake up to the realization that a lot of what they believed was true was perhaps a lie. And then when they understand that they are co-creators in every experience of their life. And when these two things happen, when you understand that the ship you're on has certain belief systems that are not exactly true, and we can make choices in those belief systems, then we also realize we need to steer that ship, and steering that ship is our co-creation. So both the ship we're on and that we have to steer it is the radical awakening.
So I've read your book, and I will be upfront that while the most important book, it wasn't the easiest book. I had to have moments where I would sit with myself and I journaled a lot, and a lot of questions came up for me. So you say in the book that in order to experience our truth, we need to come face to face with the lies that we're told and the lies that we accept. I want to talk about a few of those that you talk about in the book. The first one is about beauty and youth and how we have accepted and in some cases embraced a lot of these lies. Tell us about that.
Well, women in particular have been really hoodwinked into believing that we should hold on to two things about beauty and youth. One, that we need to subscribe to a standard of beauty. And two, that we need to defy our aging. And both these, to meet a flawless standard, which is rigid and narrow of beauty, and that we need to defy our aging, is a toxic belief system that all of us have subscribed to because of being bombarded by culture that tells us, oh, you can have flawless skin, you can have ageless skin, you can look that standard of beauty. And subconsciously, whether we choose to or not, we're all driving ourselves or beating ourselves up if we find ourselves missing the mark. And it is such a setup because we cannot defy our aging. We really can't at the end of the day. I mean, yes, we can inject ourselves with 1,000, steroids and whatever, cosmetics and all sorts of things. But at the end of the day, there has to be a surrender that we are not young as we used to be. And there is nothing diminished about us. Second, we cannot all look according to the standard of beauty. The standard of beauty is ever shifting. It always shifts according to the decade, and it is very myopic. It is very narrow. So sometimes it's the buxom body, sometimes it's the anorexic look. It's typically always young and white. However, it's impossible to fit into it. Even the young white girl cannot fit into it. So it's just designed for insecurity, for unworthiness, for craving, and then to consume.
You have a quote in the book that says, "We reduce ourselves to objects and then complain we're objectified." And that really spoke to me. So another belief is that we're told to be good, to be nice, to be sweet. What's problematic about that?
Yes, I love your questions. So, what is problematic about that? It's like, where do we begin? What is not problematic about being told to be nice and sweet? Well, it's loaded. It's the fact that we are told to be nice is a problem, because we need to be told to be who we are. So the minute you're told to be something, it means don't be authentic. And we are given high praise, especially women, little girls, for being sweet, for obeying, for not creating drama and conflict. It's called drama. Women are associated with drama. Don't create drama. Well, those messages are designed to keep us subjugated, servile, and confused. Because we're like, oh, I want to say no, but I was told I have to be nice. But I know this is wrong, but I've been told to be nice. So now we're all confused.
Right.
And we are not actually confused beings, but we've been conditioned to be confused. I see confusion as a real mental state of ill health in us women. I ask women, tell me, what are you feeling right now? Look inside. What do you feel? They're like, I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. Not because they're not smart. It's because we have been conditioned, I call it, to live in this fog, because we're so confused. We're supposed to be nice, be nice, be nice, be nice. So in that being nice, which means listen to other people's opinions, follow their voice, wait for them to lead the way, we've lost all self-direction, and we show up as confused and as if we're dithering idiots, but we're not. We're not. We've just been conditioned to forget that we know a lot, and we need to be accessing our inner knowing like this, but we've lost touch with our inner knowing because we're confused, because we're supposed to be nice.
Yeah. In your book, you reference your daughter really said it best. She said, it's one word and two letters, N-O. How does letting go of niceness help us to embrace our boundaries? And how do we get better at embracing our boundaries?
So just now there's somebody on your chat, for example, saying, your lips are so beautiful, back your hair up. And this is what I'm talking about. Women need to be heard for what they're talking about. We need to be understood for our inner message and not our outside beauty or non-beauty, because that's what frustrates us. That's what silences us. We are talking about something important and meaningful, and people are commenting on how we look. This is what I write about in the book. And this is why I speak to women and tell them that call it when you see it, and remind people, hey, I'm saying something really important. Can we focus on what I'm saying? And this is how men can help us women, by not focusing on our eyes and our eyebrows and our looks and our boobs, but to listen to us. We want to be heard for who it is we are, not just our outside. I mean, I know we're all beautiful, but let's also value what's coming in from inside.
Yeah.
So what was your question? Sorry.
No, it's okay. But on that, it starts so young. My daughter and I, before this, we did a dance it out. We put on a song and we danced together to get, my nervous energy out. And then when I was done, she said, Mommy, you need to brush your hair. You can't go on and have your hair, because, and I said, I think people care more about what we have to say than what my hair looks like. But it just was that moment. Okay, so my question was...
But that's very important what you said, because our daughters are also getting conditioned. So my daughter will tell me a lot, Mom, you're going out like that? You're going out like that? Because she's more conditioned actually than I am. And I'm sure your daughter's more conditioned now than you are, because we're breaking free. Women in our 40s and 50s, we're breaking out of this. But our kids, we're seeing them getting trapped. And we must tell our daughters, I'm always telling my daughter, I'm happy with how I look. I'm not embarrassing you in any way. I'm not looking as amazing as you want, but I'm comfortable. How are you not comfortable with me being comfortable with myself? And we need to check everyone around. So I checked the person on your chat, you checked your daughter, because we need to remind people that we are not going to be quiet. We're not here for how we look. We're here for what we contribute. We're much more than our looks. It's so important to check it.
Yeah. Okay. So my question was around boundaries and how we embrace saying no.
Well, it's not easy to say no, given that we're conditioned to say yes. But as we awaken and we realize that we're actually lying and we're actually doing the other person a disservice because we are enabling them, we often say yes when we want to say no because we're afraid that person will be upset and that they will not think of us in a negative way. But we're actually enabling them to stay childish, dysfunctional, dependent on us. So when you begin to realize that not only do you want to be the nice girl, there is a narcissism there. There is a self-absorption. You're not just nice. You're very narcissistic. And when I realized that all my yeses were because I wanted to avoid conflict, because I didn't want drama, because I wanted to be seen as nice, I realized, wow, I'm not really nice. I just want to be seen as nice. And then I began to prick the bubble and ask myself, how important is it for me to speak my truth? Or is it more important for me to be seen in a particular image?
Right. You talk about how we create masks to obtain validation. And I know for me personally, and a lot of the women who are probably on now, because I work in a lot of the space with professional women, we've adopted some version of what you call the controllers, which is the perfectionist, the helicopter, the tyrant, and the shield. Will you tell us more about what these masks are driven by and what's the antidote?
I love it. I love it. So we're talking about my book, aradicalawakening.com. So in here, I generalize, and there's everyone is everything, a bit of everything, but I generalize the most typical masks we women wear. And the reason we wear these masks is because we've learned that if we wear these masks, we get to belong, we get validation, we get approval. So I have 3 sets of masks that we wear. The first one is called the givers. And under the givers are the victim. We're all victims. The martyr, we're all martyrs. The bleeding empath, who just feels everybody's pain and cannot handle anybody's pain, so she rescues everybody. And the savior. The savior is the person who cannot enter a room without solving everyone's problems. She wants to save everyone's life. So they're the givers. I'm sure there are lots of givers in your chat. If that resonates with you guys, say yes. Then there's the controllers who operate out of a lot of anxiety. And because they have so much anxiety, they over-control, overproduce, overmanage, like the helicopter mom, the tyrant, the shield, the woman who doesn't want to show any feelings, and the perfectionist. And then there's another set. The last set is, I call them the takers. They are the diva, the one who feels entitled, the princess, the one who is waiting to be rescued, and the child. The child is the one who's ever optimistic that one day her fantasy will come true. So in some way, we are all one or all or a mix of all these things.
Yeah, it's incredible. So we as women are generally more nurturing, and we have, generally speaking, more empathy than men. Is this a true statement, or is this a lie we've been told?
We've been conditioned to be more attuned to other people's needs. We've been conditioned to respond to other people's desires. We've been conditioned. And part of that is because we are also biologically givers by our body. But we've been conditioned to be attuned to other people's needs to the degree that we have. So this is what we need to remember. This is what we need to pay attention to. Okay, I've been conditioned to be empathic, And it's lovely to be empathic, but how much of it is real? And how much of it is because I cannot tolerate my own feeling of anxiety when I see another person be anxious?
Yeah. Okay. You share about your experiences as a girl of not knowing how to protect yourself from unwanted attention. And I don't know that there is a woman on here that doesn't know some version of that. And there's a part in your book, I had to read it multiple times. The first time I read it, I read it as a mom thinking about my daughter. The second time I read it as the woman I am now. And the third time I read it as the child inside of me. So I want to read from the book,
Okay.
A Radical Awakening, how you share that it's even maybe worse that you weren't prepared for this. And so what you say is, I wish someone had held me by the shoulders, looked deep into my eyes and said, you are a girl who will grow into a woman. From now until old age, you will forever be preyed upon. Not all men see women as prey, but many do. Your awareness of this fact will be to your advantage. It will empower you. There is nothing to feel bad about. It's just the way it is. But being aware of this, you won't be caught off guard. You'll be vigilant and ever present. You will protect yourself as wisely as you can, knowing that even when you do so, you will fall to unwanted advances. As soon as this happens, you are to call on your sisters or one of us. You are to reach out for help. You are to speak up and speak out against any abuse. There is no shame in being a victim of a predator. It is not your fault if it happens. Your smaller stature leaves you ready prey for men who haven't tamed their instincts. But this does not make you victimized for life. I thought that was an incredibly powerful, personally, passage of the book. And I know a lot of women are sick and tired. Talk to us about how we can acknowledge our experience as a victim or an event where we might have been a victim without being a victim in our consciousness.
Wow, yeah, that's really powerful. I even forgot I'd written that. It's so moving because that's what you wish you had heard, what I wish I had heard. It's almost like I call it living in the fog. Like I asked my mother, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you protect me? I was being molested everywhere I went by men in India, and I'm like, I'm a young girl. I look different. It doesn't matter how you look in India. I mean, you're going to be molested. Okay. So where are the older women warning us? Why aren't we always talking about this? That whether you like it or not, your smaller stature will leave you prey, not to every man, but 1 in 50 to 70, somebody's going to do something because of just the dynamic of predator prey. Because you're smaller, not because men are evil, because once in a while, you meet somebody or you pass a dark alley, you need to know that when that happens, you are not to take it personally. You are to speak out. You are to stand up for yourself. You are to cry for help. You are never to internalize the shame. But swaths of young girls are feeling like it's because of them. They did something. Then you wake up and you realize, really? That's why me too. Really? You too? You too? You too? Why is it a secret? Why aren't we talking about it and teaching our daughters that this is probably going to happen to you? Not because you're stupid or dumb or slutty in your dress. It's because of the way it is. And this is what you need to do to protect yourself, right? But we're acting like it doesn't happen. And then when it happens, we're acting like it only happens to us. And we're feeling really bad about it. And that's why the Me Too movement is so powerful. But even the Me Too women took so long to say Me Too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How much does our childhood play a part in losing or disconnecting from our authentic self? And then a follow-up question, how do we not blame our parents? Because I don't think the intention is for them for us to say it's their fault.
So our childhood is everything. That's why I write the books on conscious parenting. everything, but it's nothing to do with our parents because they were raised by their parents. So this is not about the blame game. This is about the awakening game, which is to understand how pain comes down the generations and how it's not us personally, but about the messages we all have received. And in the book, I talk about reparenting yourself so much. It's not about blaming your parents. It's about releasing your parents from all blame. Once you become an adult, you have to release your parents. You have to retire them. You have to say, I absolve you of the job now. And now I have to reparent myself. And that is the true awakening. That is the true ownership and accountability of our own sanity, of our own healing.
Yeah. So this work will inevitably kick up lots of feelings and probably some pain. How do you suggest we work through this inner work?
Well, when I'm going to release this book very soon, in a few days, I'm doing a 10-day course at aradicalawakening.com to help women go through the work together. So people can sign up for that and have it as an addendum. But when you're reading this book and stuff comes up, I would say pick up the phone, call your sister, call your friend, call a coach. This is an opportunity. The book is written like a journey. So things are going to come up. And use this book as your guide to a new version of yourself.
Yeah. So I am sending this book to so many women that I love so that I can have some of these conversations, because it certainly kicked that up for me. Thank you for sharing about your course. And for those of you on, we're actually going to do a couple giveaways in the coming week of Dr. Shefali's book and one giveaway of the course, which we're super, super excited about. Dr. Shefali, the book comes out on Tuesday, right? The 18th?
Yes, it does. Yes,
okay.
It does. So pre-order it now, because sometimes Amazon sends it by the 18th. So
yeah. And ladies who are listening, get your hands on this book. I can't say it emphatically enough. I don't say this lightly. This is the most important book I have ever read. Dr. Shefali, thank you so much for your wisdom, for your mindfulness, for your bravery and your courage in writing what you write. I know it can't be easy, and I know you're opening yourself up to a lot of people's opinions and judgment and criticism and all of that. And I, for one, am grateful that you are bold and brave enough to do that. So thank you very much. To hear more, tune into the This Is Woman's Work podcast, where Dr. Shefali is going to be my guest. We release that episode next week on the 20th. And we did do one giveaway for a listener today. So A_Saria, and I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, but SORIYA, you've been chosen. We will be sending you one of Dr. Shefali's books, A Radical Awakening. We'll be DMing you to get that information.
the book.
There's the book. You guys, you gotta get your hands on it. Dr. Shefali, any parting last words?
Well, I just thank you so much for everything you do. Thank you for giving away the book. And yeah, if you are seeking to look at yourself in a different way and you're tired, I say in many of the podcasts, I got tired of my own unworthiness. If you are tired of putting yourself down, putting yourself back, being unhappy when you know you could be happy, then it's time to change your life. So hopefully this book will help you do that. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everybody, for joining.